You you have to introduce yourself and then you will excerpt.
Alright, I'm one Alyssa Sofea, and I'm from Shortlisted Secondary School, and I will be reading an excerpt from my story, I Almost Died. Everything just stopped. The roaring, the ringing in Tiffany's head, and the feeling of being eaten alive. She carefully opened her eyes, curious in why she isn't dead yet, and suddenly felt the tentacles wrapped around her body loosened. What a relief she could breathe again. With her arms freed, she was prepared to fight back against the squid like monster, only to find it falling back into the river, bringing her along with it. She quickly untangled from its tentacles, cringing from the slimy, muddy touch, and used her powers to wrap the monster in a network of vines, not even bothered to wonder why it wasn't fighting back like it was previously. When she was done, she swam back to the shore. Before wrapping the monster in the vines, she saw traces of laser marks on its skin. Somebody must have killed it, but who? She thought to herself. Tiffany was panting as she reached land, heart still pounding. She wanted to get out of here immediately as she fished for her phone in her mud drenched pocket. Goodness, her phone! It was missing. At that moment, she cried even harder until she suddenly sensed something approaching her from behind. Thinking it was another form of danger, she turned around and spewed out vines from her palms as self defense, but was surprised to find an innocent looking robot, not more than 4 feet, staring at her. Hello, Tiffany said nervously as it got closer to her. What is a robot doing somewhere in a place like this? It didn't look harmful, not even a little bit. In fact, it even looked adorable to her with its pentagon shaped face and tiny frame. Then Tiffany remembered that robots sometimes can shoot out lasers, which led her to ask, "Were you the one that killed that ugly thing?" As a response, the little robot shot lasers out of his eye on the grass, which caused Tiffany to back away. It was drawing something, she realized, but couldn't quite make out what it was. When it was done, she stared at the ground to find a perfectly drawn heart. How cute, she thought. She guessed this really was her savior. She knelt down to its height and asked curiously, "Do you have an owner?" It didn't speak. She figured that out, but then it turned and moved away in the opposite direction, willing for her to come. Still curious, Tiffany followed from behind and it led her somewhere near the trees around them. She was shocked to find an unconscious boy that was around her age lying on the ground with a wound on his upper right arm. But what surprised her the most was that this boy was human. She rarely saw humans living anywhere in Citadella, only seeing some working in the shops whenever she went to the mall, and even that was minimal. She went straight for his injured arm and started healing it with her powers, vines and jasmines on it wrapping around the new flesh as a bandage. She then checked his pulse and was glad to see that it was still okay. "Is this your owner?" Tiffany turned to the robot and asked carefully. Before the robot could do anything in response, the human boy woke and sat up, looking confused as ever. Tiffany let out a light gasp as she faced him. Monolith eyes with pools of honey stared at her upturned, icy blue ones. She had seen his face before, she thought to herself, and then tried to comb through her memories of this human. Realization hit her in a pang. He's that new human from school. Not only was he new, but he was also the only human in her school. Last year, the principal at Everson High announced that the school would be giving out a scholarship to a human from one of the human schools in the country. Why only one spot? She didn't know. The school staff was probably still biased, but hey, at least it was more than nothing. Before this, fairies had their own schools, while humans had theirs, though they would still struggle with education due to the fact that humans were considered lower class and most did not have the funds to run a school. Exceptions could only be made for a human student to enroll in a fae school if they were demi-fae, someone who had half a fae blood. It was a tacky system, to be honest, and she hoped it would change over time. For the first time ever, a lucky fully blooded human had the opportunity to attend Everson and have the education a private school fae student had. Out of 1,000 applications, the boy sitting in front of her was the one chosen. Tiffany had tried to make the effort to speak to this boy in school before, curious on how smart he must have been to be accepted, but the moment the bell rang, he would disappear like a thief in the night. She never saw him during recess, too, which made her wonder if this boy had already made friends yet. Shoot, what was his name? Hi, Tiffany awkwardly began. The human didn't say anything but looked away from her in response. He then glanced over his wounded arm and saw that it was bandaged with the vines and jasmine she put a few minutes ago. The tiny robot from before went up to him as he was touching the vine, glad to see its owner alive and well. Tiffany cleared her throat to speak again. Your robot friend brought me here to you, and then I saw your wound, so I healed it with my magic. He still wasn't saying anything and still faced away from her, almost as if he didn't want to talk to her at all. I don't know if you know, but we go to the same school together. She tried, begin a conversation, hoping this time she would get a response from him. My name is Tiffany. Even with that, there was still no reply from the human boy. The fake girl let out a silent sigh at that. His tiny robot was just watching between the two of them. That's okay, she told him as she was standing up, patting away the grass that got into her pants. I've met shy people before. Tiffany held out a hand for him to take, which he surprisingly did, and then he stood up, looking at her this time. The tiny robot then made its way behind its owner's lanky frame. This whole situation was so awkward, to be frank, but at least now he was making eye contact with her. Tiffany broke the silence and asked him, How'd you end up here anyway? The human looked as if he was actually going to say something for once, but was then interrupted by a familiar voice calling out her name. Okay, that's it.
Right. Great. Yeah. Okay. Let me stop recording.